Welcome to Rumble, where you can say the N-word all you want. Hello and welcome to the Thought That Counts podcast. Today I've got a couple different topics that I am going to cover with you. We've got some interesting things happening lately in the news, on social media. I'm sure you are more than aware there have been some cancellations, or should I say attempted cancellations going on recently. There is a very famous podcaster who people are saying he's been spreading misinformation. People are saying that he's become a very controversial figure. The host of the Long Days podcast, a man by the name of Giannis Papas, has apparently said some very, very controversial things. No. We all know who this is really about. We all know Mr. Rogan's statements that he's been making. People are saying he's spreading misinformation. Now, I will say most of these misinformation statements were made by his guests, not actually by him. Now, he's also said some things that people don't like, from the COVID-19, treatment opinions to some recent video clips that have been circulating. There's a lot of things that are difficult to defend. He's kind of put himself in a tough position here. I don't listen to his podcast. I used to. I've listened to a lot of his conversations, but I haven't really been a listener of his in a long time. Now, his opinions on COVID apparently have ruffled some feathers, to say the least. People say that he's anti-vax, and whatever. I haven't looked into that too much. But just to get back to the whole Joe Rogan cancellation controversy, Spotify, Neil Young, and all of them, what does Neil Young think he's going to accomplish by leaving Spotify? First of all, he hasn't been relevant since he came out with that collaboration album with Pearl Jam back in the early 90s. So I don't know what he expects anyone to do about it. A bunch of other no-name people are, leaving Spotify. Fine, go ahead. Spotify is like, nope, we're not doing anything. We are sticking by this dude. He makes us way too much money for us to give him up. Oh my God, everyone's trying to get him deplatformed for, quote, spreading misinformation. Since when did saying something that a group of people doesn't like qualify you to get deplatformed? There is a very recent mindset out there, mostly in the demographic of younger progressive thinkers, that if you're just talking to someone and you happen to veer off into a part of the conversation where you're not talking about scientific research, that all of a sudden you're spreading misinformation. Well, you know what? Maybe that's just human conversations, right? Look, I'll say it again. I'm not a Joe Rogan fan or whatever, but I do know that people are overreacting about this. I think this is pretty ridiculous now. We have top White House representatives talking about a dude with a podcast. We have the President of the United States, as well as other major world leaders, tweeting about Spotify and podcasts and Joe Rogan. I mean, the dude who used to make people eat worms on national television and swim in pools of cockroaches is now the most controversial and famous podcaster on earth. How did he get there? How did he accomplish this? I really want to know. I'm trying to grow my own podcast. How do I get there? Mr. Rogan, can you give me some tips? Can you give me some advice? Because this is some excellent publicity you've accomplished for yourself. What's really funny to me is the fact that when everyone starts calling for Joe Rogan to be pulled off of Spotify, Rumble swoops in. And if you haven't heard of Rumble, Rumble is a YouTube-esque video app. Rumble sweeps in and offers Joe Rogan a $100 million deal to bring his video podcast to their platform. In the wake of this video clip circulating the internet of Joe Rogan repeatedly using the N-word, and everyone's saying that he should be pulled off of Spotify. Rumble swoops in with the deal or no deal offer. Welcome to Rumble, where you can say the N-word all you want. That's the message I'm hearing. So anybody out there looking for that kind of platform, go ahead. Go to Rumble. You can say anything you want, apparently. They don't care. They won't touch anything. Now, Joe Rogan's not the only person who is on the receiving end of attempted cancellation. Did you know that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, The Rock himself, said some things in the past that people aren't happy about? Granted, a lot of these things he said were back in like 2001, but should that matter? Should it matter how long ago it was? A lot of people would tell you that it shouldn't matter. A lot of people would say that if you've ever said anything wrong, anything offensive, that you should be scrutinized for it as soon as the entire world of Twitter finds out. Be that a year later, be that 3 years later, or be that 30 years later. Doesn't matter to some people. Others might tell you that if it was several years ago, what's the statute of limitations on offensive speech? I want to figure this out. I want to know the answer to that question. Is it written in the Constitution somewhere? I guess, furthermore, it depends what kind of offensive speech are you talking about? Well, let's dive in. There is a clip of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from a variety of different points in time. It's like a compilation clip. So there's a handful of different clips within this one video. And it's circulating Twitter. Some of these clips are clearly from around the turn of the 21st century. Now, when you say it like that, it sounds like forever ago. It's because it was. And one of them might have been from the early 2010s. I don't really know. It's hard to tell, but he definitely doesn't look like he's in his wrestling phase anymore. He definitely looks like he's in his acting phase. He's calling another wrestler the R word, and I don't want to, say it. And yeah, it doesn't look great. Then the next video clip is he was on the wrestling stage. He was in the ring, live, in front of an entire audience. And he said something, in English, just normally. And then he's like, let me say it to you in Chinese. And then he put on this overt, Chinese accent of sorts and proceeded to spout gibberish in that very kind of not so great way. And people are saying it's racist. The last video that I remember in this compilation clip, he said something that a lot of people are saying was transphobic. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he said something about, I feel like a transvestite or something like that. And I don't remember the exact quote. You're going to have to go find it yourself. It didn't come across too great, but let's take a step back here. I want to implore everyone listening to just take a step back and think about where this is headed. Maybe we should give this man the benefit of the doubt. Did you even see Fast Five? He was great. He was great in that film. Maybe we should forgive him. But regardless, if you don't want to forgive him, then let's just keep this thing rolling here, because I've got some more things I want to talk about. I don't know if anyone else listening to this lives in America, but I do. And let me tell you something. Our president has checked out. I've never called him Sleepy Joe, but he's really starting to look tired. I'll say that much. He is starting to don this air of exhaustion. I don't think he's paid attention in months, maybe years. You might be saying, well, John, he's only been president for 13 months. Yeah, I don't think he's paid attention in years. The other day, he tweeted something that really caught my eye. It was something to remember. I'm going to read it to you. I've got it. I'm going to pull it up here. It was just about 3 days ago. Here it is. I found it. He tweeted, "This is moving stuff, so prepare yourself. Get vaccinated. Get boosted. Wear a mask while you're in public. We are going to get through this together." Riveting stuff here. I'm not really a scientist. I'm not a doctor, but I thought that once you've had a vaccine for a full year, you shouldn't really have to worry about that disease much more. Again, I'm no doctor, but I was pre-med in undergrad. So my formerly pre-medical opinion is that once you have the vaccine for something, you should all just be able to forget about it, right? Isn't that what we do with the flu? We go get a flu shot, or you don't because you forgot and no one gives you a problem about it because it's not a big deal. And then you wait a year and then you get another flu shot. I know that the flu and COVID are very different, but I mean, there was like 2 or 3 years in college, I forgot to get my flu shot. I just forgot. I forgot that they existed, you know? And my friends weren't constantly hassling me about it. People weren't asking me, oh, are you vaccinated? You can't enter this store unless you've had your flu shot. I don't remember this ever being really a thing. I know pandemics bring about different rules and regulations, but we've got a vaccine. We've got booster shots, FDA approved from a variety of different companies and sources. And I feel like we should be able to sort of move forward from here. I mean, people have been worshiping Anthony Fauci for 2 years straight. I swear to God, the next thing that comes out of his mouth better be, it's done, move on. Just move on. Please. I can't deal with this anymore. It's gotten to the point of absurdity. Our president is still tweeting about masks. Now, I wear my mask when I go into stores and everything, but for God's sake, is there nothing more important to focus on right now? We're talking about podcasts and pieces of paper that you put over your mouth. There's over 500,000 homeless people in this country trying to survive the night. There's people who can't afford rent. There's people working multiple jobs. The minimum wage in my state is $7.25. I mean, my God, I had a part-time job that pays more than that. We don't have health care. We fund a worldwide police force, and we're talking about masks. I don't know what to do about this anymore. Why are we still talking about this? I don't really get it. I was on that woke train for a year and a half straight, just, slamming people on Facebook and commenting here and there and, shaming people for suggesting that you don't need a mask. Like, I was there. But you know what, man? I'm tired of this. I am exhausted of this. We shouldn't have to be here anymore. It's enough. That's all I'm saying. Like, we're still focused on podcasts and masks. I think I've made my point by now, but I'm just going to say this. If we don't start moving forward in some real way, life's never going to get better than this. I mean, people don't have energy anymore. People are walking around in sweatpants and slippers. We've been doing this for almost 2 years now. We need hope. We need direction. We need something real. So let's get moving. Every one of you needs to tweet at Joe Biden and tell him to get his ass moving because I can't stay here any longer. I can't do this. Well, you know what? I think that's all I've got to say today. But I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed it. See you again soon. Cheers.